What's going on? Welcome to the channel, back to the 80s. And that is a fun thing. It really, really is.
hmm
How you guys doing tonight?
I'm doing good,
Good,
man.
good man.
All right, man. Um, for you guys in the chat, thank you so much for coming to hang out with us. We really appreciate it. And as stated, this is going to be a travel back into maybe a simpler time, a fun time in film. The 80s, right in the heart of the 80s, to be
hmm
exact, with these two films. Real quick, just to say a blanket hello to all of you guys that are here tonight. We appreciate you. We got Waffles in the house. What's up, man? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Two of my favorites. All right, that's great to hear, man. I know, and we talk about this a lot when we talk about these episodes and these battles. Some of these films, especially the older films, sometimes they just don't get uh enough love, and
hmm
sometimes can go a little underappreciated. So we're glad to be able to do this and hope that you guys will enjoy it as well, whether you've seen these films or maybe you haven't seen them in a long time. So all right, we got RJ in the house. What's up? Big fan of Comet. All right. That's right, Catherine Mary Stewart. And guys, I'm just gonna throw it out there because what an honor, to get a chance to talk to some of these folks that are in these
hmm
films that we've loved since we were kids. Whether you're talking about James Duke Courtney or if you're talking about Catherine Mary Stewart and Kelly Maroney. I mean, it was just awesome to get a chance to talk to those awesome actors. And yeah, fun stuff. Very cool people too. Val is in the house. What's up, Val? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. We got Paula in the chat. We got Melissa. Good to see you. We got DJ. What's up, DJ? Good to have you here too. Gene is in the house. Can I seriously, Gene, much appreciated. Let me just say something. Gene comes to the live streams, hangs out. She comes to the premiere videos and hangs out. Much love. Much love. We appreciate the support. Richie's
hmm
in the house. What's going on, Richie? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. All right. And we got graham crackers. Welcome to the chat. I like that. Graham crackers. Awesome. Hope you're doing well. I hope you enjoy the stream. Okay. All right. So, Eric, let's get official here. Who do we have in corner number one for tonight?
Okay. Well, seeing a comet can be a once in a lifetime event. Who knew that it could possibly be the end of a lifetime event? And even worse, if you survive by, pure luck of being in a steel covered area, you may have to deal with the isolation of being the only ones left alive because, having fun at the mall can only go so far. And let's not forget the ones that didn't turn into dust. They could come after you as well, either as zombies, looters, or scientists desperate for a cure. Sometimes, especially in the 80s, life was much easier when you're just watching movies and playing video games in an arcade, even if there are new initials on the top 10 high score. And it's true, girls really do just want to have fun, even if it's dealing with the after effects of the night of the comet.
All right, man. Really, really cool. All right, in corner number two, officially. Well, sometimes you find yourself with your best friend and you're just trying to get the girl of your dreams, even if her last name is Cronenberg. But what you didn't know is some little mini weird looking aliens have unleashed a parasite on the planet that turns people into killer zombies with slugs inside of them that are ready to just get into your mouth any way that they can. It's just another day during pledge week. But trust me, by the end of it, you'll be screaming like banshees. Oh, and that's not the fun part. Good old Detective Cameron is on the job. And like he says, zombies, exploding heads, creepy crawlies, and a date for the formal. This is classic Spanky. Here's Night of the Creeps. All right, Kill. Let's get
Well,
Kill's
we
commentary here.
we got the battle of the 80s here. We got comets and killer slugs. Uh, we got two classics here and horror comedies, I would say, both of them. you know. Uh, this is gonna be a good one. These movies have a lot of parallels, so I'm looking forward to this one.
Right? They really, really do. There's
Yeah.
no doubt about that. No doubt. I agree, man. These are two fun movies. Like we were saying just a few minutes ago. When you talk about 80s films, this is a good example of what 80s horror was. And
Hmm.
it's something that we just don't have today, which is fine. You get different great things as time goes on in each decade. But I will say, going back to revisit both of these movies, there were a lot of smiles, and just enjoyment of these films. And great, great films, both of them. All right. Real quick too in the chat, we got Ginger Ninja in the house,
Hey.
and I know
Ninja.
he's a big fan of Night of the Comet. I know that, man. Anytime I post about Night of the Comet, I know Ginger Ninja's gonna be in the thread. It's great. It's great. And it's true, man. Both are great. Yes, indeed. Let's see. Let's see. We got World of Games in the chat too. What's up? Good to see you. And by the way, just to remind folks, if you haven't already, please hit the like button. It helps to support the channel and we'd appreciate it. Thank you so much. All right. Let's start this thing off, guys. The way we do this, we're going to go category by category. We're going to give the point to the film that we think wins the category. We're going to try to, stay away from our bias and stuff like that. And as we begin, we got a knock on the door. So let's answer the door. And we've got Coriander in the house. What's up?
There she
Hey,
is.
sorry I'm late.
All right. It's all right. Okay. So, Eric, let's start this thing off as we always do. We're going to talk about the poster
Mhm.
for the films. So, we've got the poster for Night of the Creeps. And of course, we have the poster for Night of the Comet. Who gets the point and why?
I love them both, but I'm going
Mhm.
Night of the Creeps. Night of the Comets is good. There's a lot of mystery to it, especially, with that one person standing in the doorway in space, for all we know. But
Yeah.
Night of the Creeps, I just love how it's the two leads on the porch with their weapons, and you have that mass army of zombies getting ready to attack them. And
Mhm.
it just looks so cool. The little bit of black that you have on the back of the zombies' heads, and then right underneath you have the red that just pops of the title. So I'm going with Night of the Creeps.
Okay. All right. Kill, how about you?
I like them both. But I gotta go with Night of the Comet. It's just something
Okay.
about the colors we got going on there, the orange and kind of the black silhouettes of the people with the stars in their eyes, and then the Twilight Zone door in space down there with our protagonist.
Mm-hmm.
And then just the lettering. I love the lettering and just kind of how it just is right there across the center. No disrespect to Night of the Creeps, but I've kind of seen that type of poster done before.
Mm-hmm.
The Night of the Comet one is a little different to me, and yeah, it's just something about it that I really like. So
Okay. All right. So we got one for Night of the Comet too. Okay. Coriander, how about you?
Um, can you put yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go with Night of the Creeps too. I mean, Night of the Comet. I mean, I don't mind Night of the Creeps, but it just looks, I don't know, kind of like, I don't know, generic. Like the people. I don't know, it just looks too cartoonishy. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And sometimes, like, I guess that's not a bad thing because some do. I don't know. It just looks, I don't know. But yeah, I'm gonna have to go with this one.
Okay. All right. For me, this is tough because I think both of them are really cool posters. And again, when we talk about the 80s, this another fun thing about the 80s is that the poster work for a lot of these 80s horror films are just great. I mean, obviously we usually pick one that we give a point to, but I mean, so many of them are awesome that came through the 80s. And this is tough. This is already starting off really tough for me because I like both of these for different reasons. I'm going to edge it out to Comet. And one of the reasons I'm going to do it, and Kill, you kind of said it, the mystery of it. You know what I'm saying? You've got this scene with these people looking upwards, and they've got the gleam of light in their eyes, and then you got the Twilight Zone door thing going on, and you're like, well, who
Mhm.
is that? I mean, obviously we know that's Reggie, but it just there's a lot of mystery to it, and it goes so well with the movie title. Like, this is a good example of how on a poster the image can be enhanced by the title of the movie. You know what I'm saying? You said Night of the Comet, and it's like, okay, what does that mean? What's going to happen? Whereas Night of the Creeps, not that it's a bad thing, but I know what I'm in for. You know, there's going to be
Mhm.
some people trying to fight a bunch of, zombies or creeps or whatever. So this one with the mystery and how it melds in with the title is why I'm going to edge it out just a little bit and give the point to Night of the Comet. Okay. All right. Let's see. Hey, we got Scott coming into the chat. What's up, Scott? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Saying hello to everybody. Let's see. Paul is going with Night of the Comet. Ginger Ninja saying Comet gives off a creepy vibe, draws you in, and gets you
Mhm.
intrigued. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of mystery to it. You know, a lot of mystery. Scott is going with Night of the Creeps. Okay. All right. Very, very cool. Okay, let's go to our next category. As always, Eric, we got to talk about the tagline for the films. And the tagline for Night of the Comet is "It was the last thing on Earth they ever expected." And the tagline for Creeps, let me just pull that up, is "If you scream, you're dead." Who gets the point and why?
Oh, Night of the Comet easily. I don't like Night of the Creeps at all. I think it's not just generic. I think it's kind of lame, in my opinion. I
Okay.
really like Night of the Comet. That again, it fits well with the poster. It fits well with the movie. But even if you just hear the tagline, it's still got that aura of mystery about what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And like I've always said here and other places, like if you're reading a book, you want to really pull that audience in, like within the first couple pages that pulls me in and it makes me want to know what the heck's going on with this movie. So,
Mm.
hands down, Night of the Comet.
Okay. All right. Kill. How about you?
I'm looking at this two ways. Night of the Comet, I agree with Eric, where it's that mystery.
Mm-hmm.
And that's if I've never seen the movie. If I have seen both these movies, I think Night of the Creeps is better because that's the one I'm gonna go with. Because if you do scream, they're gonna get in your mouth and you're dead.
Good
Mm-hmm.
point.
So they both kind of work in two respects, but I'm gonna go with Night of the Creeps.
Okay. All right. We got you down. Coriander, how about you?
Could you say them both again, please?
Night of the Creeps is "If you scream, you're dead." And Night of the Comet is "It was the last thing on Earth they ever expected."
Mm. Mm. I mean, they're both suitable. Let's dang. I'm gonna give it to, since I picked the poster last time because where they're not, this is tough. I guess I'll give it to Night of the Creeps this time.
Okay. All right. For me, when we talk about taglines, again, taglines in and of themselves, it has to do multiple things. And although I think that Night of the Creeps, like you said, Kill, it definitely fits the movie, but I look at it like, okay, well, I don't know that at first. So I'm just looking at it as, okay, what's the tagline of this movie I'm about to watch? And it's pretty simple, I mean, if you scream, you're dead. So that's kind of interesting, but it just doesn't have enough oomph to me. So I'm going to give the point to Night of the Comet. Almost the same reason as I did for the poster. It just has a sense of like, wow, it was the last thing on Earth they
Mm-hmm.
ever expected. What? Wow, it just has that mystery that kind of rings to me. So I'm gonna go with Comet on that one. Okay. Let's see, real quick too in the chat. DJ's going with Night of the Creeps. Ginger Ninja saying Comet again, mysterious, intriguing, makes you want to see what happened. Yeah, no, I agree with that. That's exactly what I was thinking too. All right, so let's go to our next category, and that is the opening. Eric, obviously, as we've said many times before, in this series, usually the first couple minutes of the film, could be the first 15 minutes of the film. Who gets the point and why?
Easy Street, Night of the Creeps. I
Mm,
like Night of the Comet. It's very 80s. When we were talking about offline, it makes you feel like you're back there. You know what I mean?
mhm.
Which is great for a movie. But I love Night of the Creeps so much because it sets the tone of how goofy and fun it's going to be. We have these naked aliens running around, which the first time I saw this, I knew it had to do with zombies, so I didn't know what was going on with these aliens. Then you
Right.
go to the 50s, which I'm a sucker for the 1950s. It's black and white. You have
Yeah.
an homage to that urban legend of the serial killer stalking the two girls at the two couples at makeout point. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And it was just so much fun. It set the tone for there's going to be some cheesiness to it because it's the 80s. I love it. Night of the Creeps.
All right. Kill, how about you?
You know, both of these they're kind of doing different things.
Hmm.
I I'm a sucker for some cheesy space stuff, so I'm gonna go Night of the Creeps because I'm watching these pudgy like little aliens. I don't know what's going on,
I know.
and then it cuts to like the 1950s, and I'm like, all right, like. Did it happen back then? Is this whole movie taking place in the 50s? What's going on?
Right.
And yeah, they were setting the groundwork for the creeps themselves. So
Hmm.
yeah.
All right. Okay. Coriander, how about you?
Um, well, yeah, I think I'll go with Night of the Creeps too.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. For me, like you guys said, both of these openings are good and they're doing different
Mhm.
things. With Night of the Comet, I thought it was, just showing this whole, party atmosphere. You got the music rocking, and then
Hmm.
of course you got the famous scene with Reggie in the arcade, which has been used most famously by Stranger Things. I mean, this is iconic stuff. You just get a sense of the world and the fun you're gonna have. But this easily goes to Night of the Creeps. It's I mean, I don't want to say it's not close because I love the opening for Comet, but I think Night of the Creeps, like you guys said, is just so well done. The whole
Hmm.
idea of these freaking little aliens waddling around, you're like, what is I have no clue what I'm in for. It's funny as hell in a way. But then it goes to this black and white
Hmm.
scene and it's homaging, old school horror too. And I thought that was really it was a great stylistic choice. And that tells you, at least it tells me right from the beginning, this movie, it's going to be well made and it's really um it's taking horror seriously, even though it's a fun movie and you got a lot of great gags and stuff. But you could tell that this movie really is taking horror seriously, especially when you start hearing the names of
Hmm.
these characters and just all of these famous horror directors. I mean, I got to the point where I almost started to lose track. They were like name dropping everybody important in horror. So I just thought it was really cool. So to me, this easily goes to Night of the Creeps. Okay. We got Hollywood guy in the house. What's going on? Okay, Scott's going with creeps. All right. And by the way, again, if you haven't hit the like button, please do. It definitely helps us out. We'd appreciate it. We're not going to be able to get to everyone's comment. We'll try to get to as many as we can. But of course, if you send in a super chat, we will make sure we answer your comment or question. Plus, you can put points to the film of your choice that you would like to win. Also helps us out, and we appreciate it. Okay, next category. The music, Eric, the music. Who gets the point and why?
I gotta go. Honestly, might be kind of a cheap, but I'm gonna go with Night of the Comet because that's the only one I kind of really remember sticking out. And when you
Mhm,
say music, you didn't specifically said score. They
Oh,
both have
so
decent scores, but when you have the '80s music in Night of the Comet, whether it was a cover or not, seeing them have fun at the mall, two girls just want to have fun. That's why I put it
mhm,
in my intro. It made the movie a lot more, no pun intended, fun. Brought me back to the '80s, and I couldn't rip the smile off my face. It's just
mhm.
two girls trying on clothes. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I really enjoyed that scene because of the song. So I got to go with Night of the Comet.
Yeah, that's a great point too, man, because you're having fun with this film, even
Hmm.
in moments where it's very simple. you know, and
Yes.
that kind of just shows the level of what, you know, a film can do. So great point. Kill, how about you?
You know, I'm kind of in the same boat Eric is. Like, for some reason, the music in Night of the Creeps, I can't really remember a lot of pieces
Mhm.
from it. And I do remember like the 80s covers and so forth, and just the fun that comes with the scenes and how they tag team the scene with the song, like the girls just want to have fun and so forth.
Mhm.
Um, I want to go with Night of the Comet because, you know, I just remember more of it, and if I can't remember any score bits, that kind of tells you everything right there, at least for me. So
Okay.
Night of the Comet.
All right. Coriander, how about you?
You know, I'm kind of with Kill. I can't really remember the music to Night of the Comet, so yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Night of the Creeps.
Okay, so you're going the opposite way. So you're going with Night of the Creeps.
Yeah. Oh, whoops. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I didn't. I got distracted, so I guess I missed your answer. I thought you went with Night of the Creeps,
Okay.
but
So you're
yeah,
saying you don't remember the music from Night of the Comet, but you
I really
remember.
don't. But
Okay.
yes, I
Wow.
do remember it from
Night of
yes.
the Creeps. Okay.
Mhm.
Wow. Okay. Um
Oh no, I
to
have
me,
that backwards. Oh
well,
my
that's
god.
why I was asking you.
You guys, yeah, I'm all discombobulated
That's all
today.
right.
It's been a crazy day.
Mhm.
It's all right.
Yeah, other way around.
Okay. Night of the
My
Comet.
bad.
All right.
Yeah.
For me, to me,
Ugh.
this isn't even close. And that's not to put down Night of the Creeps, because it does have some good music. Even starting with that great opening, you know, playing some old school tunes. Um, you know, the montage when everyone is getting ready for the date, you know, that was some cool music. So Creeps does have some good moments, but I just don't think it even compares to Night of the Comet. I mean, right in the beginning of the movie, when you've got the narration about the comet returning, I really love that piece of music. You know, it's creepy, it's eerie, it feels like something out of the Twilight Zone. So to me, this isn't even close. I'm going to give that point to Night of the Comet. All right. Ginger Ninja, he's going for the comet each time. There you go. All right. Let's go to our next category. Let's see. We're going to go with story. And Eric, when we talk about story overall, who gets the point and why?
I think they're both fun and creative in their own ways, but I think I'm gonna go with Night of the Creeps because, like I said, how we already talked about how it started, with the little aliens and then the 50s, and then it literally does turn into a zombie film that for a fact inspired movies like Slither. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Stuff like that. It's just a lot of fun from point A to point Z. Night of the Comet is really good. There are some moments where it kind of lags, it kind of drags because I hate to say it, nothing's happening, but that's because we have such a limited cast. I think I kind of lose interest. I mean, it's minimal, but I lose interest a little bit. I'm never losing interest in Night of the Creeps because there's always something happening, keeping me entertained. So I'm going with Creeps.
All right. Kill, how about you?
You know, I'm gonna go with Night of the Creeps. And for me, it's just a little bit more going on. You know,
Hmm.
we have aliens in the 1950s, you know, and then we go from that point to the 80s. So right there, we have a span of things going on. We have Tom Atkinson's character when he's young, and then when he's old, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and then of course we have our young college, you know, protagonists, so forth, coming in. I just think there's a little bit more going on, and I agree with Eric. There were spans of Night of the Comet where it's just kind of like, all right, what's going on? Okay, now we're following him. He's going back to San Diego to look for his mom, and what's going on here? And then
Mm-hmm.
the science group, they're coming in, and it's just kind of, all right, you know, the comet happened. People, you know, got aced out. We have our protagonist. Then you got the clandestine, you know, kind of shady science people coming in,
Right,
and then it's
right.
kind of the end. You know, I mean, of course there's
Mm-hmm.
more there to it. I really,
Hmm.
you know, cut it short, but I just think there's a little bit more going on in Creeps.
All right. Okay. Coriander, how about you?
Yeah, I think for story, I mean, I enjoyed Night of the Comet, but I mean, this is a fun movie, and to see, I'm sure what they had on paper to see it, in film is probably, you know, a lot different than what they, you know, for like comic wise, the comic relief. It was really good, and I don't know, yeah, I'm gonna have to give it to Night of the Creeps. So, yeah.
Okay. All right. I think for me, both of these are good stories because I think that you have some twists and turns that you're not sure exactly where this is gonna go, and I think that's true of both of the films. But um, I'll have to I have to agree. I'll have to give this to Night of the Creeps because it's got multiple layers going on. I mean, they've even got some things going on that they don't necessarily go down the full road of things, but you could just see the variation. I mean, like Cameron's character, Detective Cameron's character in general is like a whole nother, side story going on, which, they pay off in certain scenes, especially one of the scenes near the end when you've got Chris coming to go get him and go into the finale, and it's like, whoa, you just you just saved Tom Atkins, bro. But that is a callback to the beginning of the movie and his own story. So there's a lot of things going on, um, story wise with Night of the Creeps. So I definitely have to give the point to Night of the Creeps. All right. Let's see, real quick too in the chat, just to catch up. We got Hollywood guy coming in with a super chat. There we go. Thank you so much. We appreciate that, man. Seriously. Uh, and he's saying, Night I haven't seen both in forever, but I want to give some points to Night of the Creeps. Okay, wow. Okay. So we've got wow, we have jumped out ahead. 5 points. So we'll put 5 points to Night of the Creeps. Wow, man. All right. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate that. It definitely helps us out and allows us to do streams like this, man. You're always so supportive. So let's do a clip for you. And, Kill, sometimes when you get super excited, you're trying to pass off, uh, you know, the goodness and the spirit to others, sometimes you get lost in your own energy. And it may look like this.
All right, you ought to tell 3 people he's still there. He is here. He is here. He is here. Ooh,
You know what you were missing from that clip, and I was waiting for it. You're missing that dude with the.
Yeah, I know. I thought about it.
Trust me, add him to that, and that'll end it like a chef's kiss.
Oh man, bro! At the end, man, when he started, just when you thought it couldn't go any further, man. All right, so Hollywood guy, thank you. Look at Eric's face as we got into it. It was great. Hollywood guy, thank you so much. We appreciate you, man. Seriously. And we're gonna put those 5 points from you to Night of the Creeps. Okay, all right. We got Jado in the chat too. What's going on? All right. Saying I grew up on Night of the Creeps. Very, very cool. Ginger Ninja, no matter which movie wins, we're the winners for having both of these films out in our lives. That's true. Very true.
Yeah,
We
man.
got Gina's in the chat too. What's going on, Gina? Good
Hey,
to see
Gina.
you.
Hey.
Hope you're doing well. Okay, all right. Our next that was just so funny. Our next category, the directors, Eric, the directors. So just when we're talking about the directors, their efforts from A to Z. Obviously, we got Fred Decker for Night of the Creeps, and we've got Tom Eberhardt for Night of the Comet. Who do you give the point
Mm.
to, and why?
I'm going Fred Decker for Night of the Creeps. I think it's because he had a lot more to deal with. When it comes to the bigger cast, he had to keep the tone. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
From beginning to end, it kept that cheesy 50s sci-fi movie tone for me.
Hmm.
I really like Night of the Comet. That director had a lot to work with the the limited cast after the comet happens, but he still had to make the movie seem like you're the only one left on the planet, and he did a
Hmm.
good job with that tone. But from beginning to end, I think Fred Decker just did a better job with what he was given, and just the practical effects, special effects, the tone, the acting. Uh, he did a better job.
Okay, all right. Kill, how about you?
I think both directors did a good job, but I'm going with Night of the Creeps, and mainly because there's more moving parts. The beginning of the
Mhm.
movie is a sci-fi alien movie.
Hmm.
Then you go to a period piece movie, and then you go to, at that point, a modern '80s, movie. You're directing in the comedy. You have a bigger cast. On top of that, you have all of the effects. No disrespect to I guess the effects of the infected,
Hmm.
Quotey Fingers and Night of the Comet. But here, I mean, you got the creeps. You got the creeps when they're coming out of us and so forth. So there's stages to it.
Hmm.
And it just seems like there's a little bit more
Mm.
direction that was needed.
Mhm.
Night of the Comet, you have a smaller cast and you're in barren cities and so forth, so it's just a little bit more going on in Creeps.
Okay, all right. Coriander, how about you?
Oh, yeah, I think there's like a lot more going on in Creeps versus Night of the Comet for the director. I mean, at some points, it's just them in the bare streets, shooting a car.
Mhm.
It's and where in Night of the Creeps you have a zombie dog who takes out a bus and a whole group of guys, fraternity. So I mean, yeah, there's a lot more like that the director had to deal with, I think, in Night of the Creeps, and he totally gets my vote. Not that, you know, the dude who did Night of the Comet's great too, but I mean, you got bare streets and the mall, it's you not much. So yeah.
Okay, all right. And real quick too in the chat, and Ginger Ninja made a great point. Actually, I was going to say this too. He's going with comment because he's saying almost guerrilla type filmmaking, having to film at certain times to keep the reflections out of the shots, the cars, the planes, the people, and so
Mhm.
forth. And that's a great point because that's not easy to do, and we've all seen a lot of apocalyptic films. And you sometimes you see the goofs, you see one person, most notably stuff like the Omega Man. It's like it looks pretty desolate, and then all of a sudden you see a car right at the top of the frame. They just go
Mhm.
Mhm.
chilling.
Catherine, yeah, she talks about we asked her about those shots, and you can hear what she says about them if you watch the interview. So,
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was a good
absolutely.
interview.
Yeah.
Man, I'm telling you, I was just like, I cannot believe we're actually talking to Catherine Mary Stewart. And shout out to Catherine Mary Stewart
Mhm.
too, because she's such a kind, and Kelly Maroney is as well. And also shout out to Ivan Roth, who played Willie, because we did a watch party and he was there too. He's funny as hell, absolutely funny, great personality. But shout out to Catherine, man, because she's just so cool, man. Like so unassuming. You'd never know that she had this type of career because she's so kind to the fans, and just
Mhm.
being able to talk to her offline through emails and text messages. Are you kidding me? How does that happen? But she's very approachable is what I'm getting at, and the fact that we've been able to have her on the channel twice, you
Yeah.
know and
And
she
she
even,
said she'd come on again.
yeah, she
So,
she said just let her know, and I'm like, okay, I'm
yes.
fighting the urge to be like, can we just do this monthly? So, you know,
My
no, I'm just
funny.
joking. I'm joking, Catherine. If she sees it, she's gonna be like, "Oh, I don't know about all that." But all that being said, it was great stuff in the interview. So you guys check that out in our
Mhm.
interview playlist. But I'm just gonna be honest, and I'm sorry, Catherine. I'm sorry, Kelly, but I got to give this to Night of the Creeps because I agree. Fred Decker had a lot of different things going on that he had to balance out. And I think he was able to do that. I mean, Tom did a great job with what they were doing with Night of the Comet, and also the fact that Tom fought studio interference because they really wanted to make it kind of like a serious movie or a much more serious movie about zombies. And he said, no, that's not the charm of the film. He kind of, petitioned to keep it with the tone that it has. And I'm so glad he did. But anyways, I'm giving the point to Fred on this one for Night of the Creeps. Okay. Ginger Ninja. He's in heaven, man. I know, man. They're great. Catherine and Kelly are great. David's in the house saying, what's up, guys? Hey, good to have you. Hope you're doing well. All right. Let's go to our next category, guys. And our next category is the atmosphere of the film. Okay, so Eric, who gets the point and why?
I think I'm gonna go with Night of the Comet. Like I said, Creeps has this 50s sci-fi vibe, and it does a great job of mixing the sci-fi and the horror with the goofy cheesy stuff. But I think when we're talking tone and atmosphere, Night of the Comet does its job with the isolation.
Mm-hmm,
You
mm-hmm,
know what I mean? And when you are a group of three people, I think,
mm-hmm.
initially before they meet the scientists, you feel like it's like the Omega Man or the Last
Yeah.
Man on Earth, with Vincent Price. You have that we're here and there's no one else, and they do a great job of just from beginning, not really beginning, but after the comet does its thing,
Mm-hmm.
feeling like there is no one else. The wide
Right.
shots, stuff like that. It was really well done. So got to go with Comet.
Okay, all right. Kill, how about you?
Me and Eric, we're just riding together on this. I agree. As far as the atmosphere, in my opinion, Night of the Comet was able to keep it going the most.
Mm-hmm.
That feeling of, okay, are we the last people on planet Earth?
Mm-hmm.
And what would you do if you're a teenager in your city and you're alone, you and your sister? What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Whereas Creeps, I think because there's so much going on and there's so many characters, the atmosphere gets a little spread out more. We're
Mm-hmm.
on campus, we're at the sorority house, we're at we're at Tom Atkins, his place. We're at the morgue,
Mm-hmm.
trying to do pranks and get bodies. So it's kind of a little bit all over the map.
Mhm.
So yeah, Night of the Comet for this one because it's a little bit more focused for me.
Okay, all right. Coriander, how about you?
I mean, this is for me. I mean, it would almost be more difficult, I think, to keep the atmosphere in Night of the Creeps going versus, Night of the Comet. Because you don't have the people or, anything really that you have to, keep in order or keep whatever to keep that atmosphere going besides your actors.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I'm gonna give it to Night of the Creeps on this one.
Okay. All right. For me, this one is I don't want to say it's easy, but I already knew what I was going to pick, and I'm gonna tell you it's Night of the Comet, and
Mhm.
here's the reason why. When you get to a situation where you show, the end of the world or whatever, and we've seen tons of those movies. Some of those movies just don't work, for whatever reason. It could be 1,000 different things, but this one does, and it was like, and I think Tom was very smart as a director because he wanted to still have charm in this film. He still wanted his characters to feel real, and especially when you talk about Reggie and Sam, Catherine Mary Stewart and Kelly Maroney, you got so invested in them in the beginning as just these regular, teenage girls
Mhm.
And then when everything's gone and they're totally alone, it's like you feel it. Like it really feels dire. You feel bad for them. There's tons of scenes in this film where you're just like, damn, this really sucks for these guys. And even when Hector comes into the scene, and then you're like, oh, well, cool, here's another person, but he's got things going on with his
Mhm.
family. He's like, I know they're probably gone, but I gotta make sure. So it's like it in that atmosphere, it carries throughout the whole film, and you're just like it's just really heavy. Whereas with Night of the Creeps, like you got great moments here and there, but you also have, to me, is it's breaks in the atmosphere, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's
Mhm.
the story, how the story pans out. But I just think that the atmosphere is so thick and heavy in Night of the Comet that you can't escape it, and that includes the music and the choices that they make. With the rock scores and the music and stuff like that. So I'm gonna give this point to Night of the Comet. Okay. All right. Real quick, we got Gina saying, I'm gonna catch the replay. Dinner's ready. All right. Catch you later, Gina. Hope you have a good night.
Good
Thanks for
night.
being here. We appreciate it. Next category, guys. The best characters. The best characters. So we include all the characters from both films. Which film do you give the point to, Eric?
Oh, Night of the Creeps. I like the
Okay.
characters in Night of the Comet. I love a lot of the characters in Night of the Creeps.
Okay.
Tom Atkins, notwithstanding, he's Tom Atkins. The way he is, introduced to us. He's daydreaming that he's on the beach with pretty ladies drinking out of coconuts. You know what I mean? Stuff like
Yep.
that. And he does have this Halloween 3 vibe of cool with him. But I really like just how a lot of these characters they're tropes, they're stereotypical. We have the stereotypical 80s, frat boy bully. We have the shy kid, air quotes, and his geeky best friend that wants the best for him, who that's my favorite character. I can't think of his name. He's
Oh,
the one with
JC.
yeah, with the crutches.
Yeah.
What I really like about him is that character, kind of like with Kincaid in like Dream Warriors. If the
Mhm.
comedy didn't hit, it would have just crapped the bed. You know what I mean? He could have just come
Mhm.
off as annoying and obnoxious. I really liked his performance a lot. You know what I mean? You cared about him, so when he did change and we find his body, you really felt bad for him.
Right.
So, and then there's just other little characters sprinkled here and there in Creeps that were fun. But yeah, gotta go Creeps.
All right. Kill, how about you?
This is an easy street for me. I'm going Night of the Creeps. I just feel the characters in there had a little bit more dimensions for
Mhm.
me, and they stuck out a little bit more. Whereas in Comet, you have the science people that are super serious. You got the sisters that have moments of being serious, but for the most part, they're carefree, teens.
Mhm.
You
Hmm.
know, and yeah, it's just kind of a little bit more one note on Night of the Comet. So going Night of the Creeps.
Okay. All right. Coriander, how about you?
Yeah, I'm going with Night of the Creeps too. Definitely.
Okay. All right. For me, I mean, there's great characters in both films, but when I have to weigh them out, and it's actually a little bit closer than I thought, when I really break it down, but I also have to give the point to Night of the Creeps. I think that, um, obviously when you talk about Chris and JC, that, their dynamic with each other is, it's pretty good, but when you
Hmm.
add in Tom Atkins, I mean, it just really takes it over the top. Like I said, when we were watching it for both the films, but specifically talking about Night of the Creeps, just smiling, man, just smiling throughout it and just having fun with it. It just has this type of charm, and he's handpicked for it. Like he's like the perfect type of actor to have in a movie like this, because it could have gone sideways easily. Some of the
Hmm.
dialogue, some of the quips that he had. I was even saying to Coriander, I was like, he's one of the only few actors where he could come off with these lines and not be totally ridiculous. You know what I mean?
He knew what
But
he was in, and he took it seriously.
yeah, yeah. So a lot of fun, but I gotta edge this one out to Night of the Creeps. Okay. All right. Scott's going with Night of the Creeps. All right. Okay. Um, And Ginger Ninja also going with the creeps. Okay. Very, very cool. Okay, next category, the scarier threat. So with this category, we always put ourselves in the shoes of the character. So obviously on one side, we got a situation where it's pledge week and we got these creeps coming onto the campus. What do we do? And on the other side of it, we're, one of two siblings in a world that has been decimated by the comet. Eric, who gets the point and why? What's the scarier threat?
They're both scary when you think about it in their own ways. But I'm gonna go again with creeps. The reason why is Night of the Comet. Yeah, you have the isolation. You have zombies. You have possible looters and stuff like that. But you know what? Eventually, like we saw at the end, you might have someone just show up that you just didn't realize survived. The guy who pulled up with the car at the end for Kelly Maroney. Night of the Creeps, you have this mass zombies, this mass group of zombies. You have the slugs in general. You don't know if the aliens are going to attack. And the problem is kind of like, even though I didn't really like the tagline, kind of like what Kill said with it, if you scream, you open your mouth, boom, you can easily become one of them. So I think, again, the quantity of the zombies plus the slugs and anything else is just going to be even more scarier, because you really, like, by the end of it, the movie, Tom Atkins had tape over his mouth, what I mean, because it's that dangerous. So got to go with creeps.
All right, Kill, how about you?
I've said this time and time again, if you can stay mobile, you have a better chance of survival. Now, that's not to say both movies, the antagonist or the protagonist can't just get in the car and leave. I'm gonna leave this town with all these creeps, or I'm gonna leave this town and go to San Diego or wherever. But the slugs themselves have an endless amount of bodies in cemeteries. Okay, so even if every human starts wearing tape on their mouths, yes, you still got cemeteries, and we saw that at the end of the movie. And each human can, host, 4, 5, 6 creeps. Even if you kill them, then they come out. So it's just a lot going on there. Whereas, hey, there's the comet. Everybody dies or becomes infected with craziness. But it's just something more about the threat of the creeps, and of course it's also the alien factor there. So
all right, Coriander, how about you?
I mean, yeah, it's definitely Night of the Creeps. I mean, when at the end, where I'll keep talking about the end and shit, but when Tom comes out, right, and he's walking all burnt and he falls over and he has slugs coming out of his head, so yeah. I mean, after an explosion and, supposedly heat's supposed to kill him, and it does, but it didn't kill these ones. But yeah.
Well, for me, I'm going the total opposite way, man. I'm going with Night of the Comet. I mean, the world has been destroyed. Like, you don't even know how much whatever technology you're going to have. Like, you have no clue. That people have been killed, tons of people, and the ones that haven't are dying.
I mean, if the radio station's still on and working.
Yeah, but that they're dead. You go there, they're dead.
I get that, but technology is still going to be there,
Not if there's not enough people to run it.
If you're there to run it and you know what you're doing, there you go.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But here's the point. Here's the point of this category. So you're saying you'd rather be in the situation of Night of the Comet than Night of the Creeps, where you have a method to destroy the creeps, you have people that you can rely on.
Yeah, I would have a yes.
You'd rather.
I think this is these slugs, dealing with these slugs rather than looking up, and then you're dust. It's like boom, it's over. Yeah, scarier threat is dealing with the slugs and the zombies and everything else. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I'm going with Night of the Comet because, like I said, when you talk about an apocalypse, I don't want to be in that situation because that really sucks. And that's what you felt for that's what I was saying earlier about the two leads is that you just felt really bad for them. They have no one but themselves. They don't know who's left. People are
But you think
dying.
about it. Now they all have a partner.
Yeah, but
You
they
know,
didn't
the
have
young
that in the
ones can
beginning.
start,
Yeah,
maybe
but hold
not,
on.
but they do now. You know, they can start repopulating the world and
Okay. All
people
right.
will
Well,
all get together that
well, I'm
are,
giving the point for Night of the Comet.
survivors.
All right. All right. I think the scarier threat is Night of the Comet because the world is destroyed, not just a frat house. All right. Next category. Let's go to our next one. Favorite scene, Eric. Favorite scene between either film.
First one that I thought of was Night of the Creeps. And it's actually a scene without any zombies. I like the scene where Tom Atkins is telling the lead actor what he did with the body of the serial killer. How
Mhm.
he found out that it killed his girlfriend in the 50s. He ended up taking it out. And then he ended up burying him under where the frat house now is. You know what I
Right.
mean? I like that because as much as I keep saying how this is a goofy, fun movie, it was a time when Tom was completely serious. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And I really appreciated how Tom was not that saying he couldn't, but how he was able to pull that off in this type of movie. And sometimes you need that so you have like a palate cleanser of like this movie can't be like 100% goofy. You need a little bit of those type of
Right.
scenes, and I
Yeah.
really like that. And then of course seeing the very next scene when it pops out of the floorboards was a great little punch at the end. So I got to go Night of the Creeps with that one.
All right. Okay. Kill. How about you?
Um, for me, it's Tom Atkins in Night of the Creeps. When he first, towards the end of the movie, when he goes into the sorority house and like, they're freaking out, and he's just kind of, he just pulls out his revolver. He's just like, he's
Mhm.
just wrecking shop and just, he's kicking ass and taking names
Miller
and just,
time, yeah.
Yeah, it's
yeah,
Miller time.
yeah, just talking the most shit, and just it's just so fun to watch. And then these sorority girls are like, "What is going on?" And he's just like looking at them like, what do you think? It's just
Mhm.
every Tom Atkins, every scene he's in. How about that? but especially that one.
Yeah.
All right. Coriander, how about you?
So I'm gonna have to go with Night of the Comet, and
Mm.
it's the scene. It's not where Kelly's character gets where you think put to sleep like an animal,
Mhm.
um, to where Hector opens up the trunk and boom, you find she's alive. So I think that was probably one of my favorite scenes because it was pretty. I was pretty bummed, especially, the first time you see it. And
Yeah.
it's
Mhm.
like, oh my God,
Yeah.
because it's
That's a good
like
point.
you feel, you're invested in these two sisters and
Mhm.
Right.
their future and, yeah. So, yeah.
That's a
Good
really
choice.
good point. That's a good point. And actually I mean, I've thought of it that way, but that didn't come into my mind for tonight. That's a really good point because you didn't know what was happening with her. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like it was
Mhm.
kind of like left ambiguous, which was smart of the director. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
No,
that's a good
Mhm.
I
point.
want to jump. That was a real good point because honestly, I've only seen Night of the Comet twice, and the first time I saw it was maybe only like a handful of months ago. So I
Hmm.
did not expect her to make it, at the
Hmm.
end. So I
Yeah.
really like that.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yep.
Mm.
Very cool. For me, there's great scenes in both. I mean, this could have this was a tough one. It could have gone either way, but I'm gonna go with Night of the Comet, and I'm gonna choose the nightmare scene, which was so, just the atmosphere was just so weird because she's driving, and it didn't make sense because right before that, they were in the radio station and kind of just, the whole back and forth. These characters are getting situated and so forth, and all of a sudden she's driving down the street and you got the cops that pull her over. And it's like, you're like, what's going on? It didn't make sense, but I love the way it was played out because, of course,
Mhm.
they were zombies and she gets freaked out. and she wakes up and it's like, oh, okay, it was just a nightmare. That's cool. And she goes into the bathroom, you think everything is okay. She's in a situation that's very vulnerable. And next thing you know, a zombie attacks her in there. And then it's like, so that the whole idea of the double nightmare, I think was really well done. You hadn't seen something like that too often at that point in 1984. And I thought Kelly Maroney was great in that scene because you believed her fear, but you also felt so bad for her, like when she woke up. So it was a really cool scene with Reggie, trying to make her feel better. Because at that point, you knew that Sam may not be ready for this world. You know what I'm saying? Which ties into what you were saying, Coriander. Near the end, when I first saw it, I really was like, man, she's not going to make it. But in that scene, this nightmare scene was a great setup for that. All right, very, very cool. Let's see. Paul is saying the opening of Night of the Comet. Okay. Very, very cool. Ginger Ninja going with Creeps. Tom looking out of the window and turning to the sorority girls. Yeah, that's a great scene. Yep, that's right. Scott's going with Creeps. Okay. Yep. Saying when Chris finds JC. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's a rough one.
That was a rough one, man. It's like, you said it too earlier, Eric. It kind of was like, oh man, like even when we watched it, we were like, oh, that really sucks. And again, it just shows how much you're invested in these characters, So
that's
all
what
right.
what was great with that actor's performance, because like I said, it could have gone the wrong way. He could have been the annoying, obnoxious sidekick, and you would have been like, good, finally,
Right.
you know what I mean? But because he was so endearing and he just wanted the best for Chris, you know what I mean? Trying to be his wingman and stuff like that. And when you lose him, it's just like, damn, that really sucks,
Yep, that's true, man. Very, very true. Okay, our next category is the it factor. Okay, so when we talk about the it factor, that just means overall enjoyment of the film, the rewatchability of it, or maybe how many times you've rewatched it, or just you're connected to it.
Can we split the points?
No, we can't.
Come on, because they're both,
I know.
The rewatchability is the same, so that's ridiculous.
Well, that's why it's a great battle.
Yeah,
that's the whole point of this series.
I'm gonna get a coin.
Oh gosh. Okay. Okay, Anton. Okay, Eric, let's start with you. Who gets the point?
I'm going Night of the Creeps. I really like them both. I've only seen these movies, honestly, a couple times each. You know what I mean? It's been very recent. I came to these very, very late in my life. I'm gonna say Night of the Comet. I kind of have to be in the right mood for this, because the first time I watched it, I honestly just thought it was zombie apocalypse. And then the second watch, I realized, okay, that's not it. You know what I mean? That's just a little bit of a factor to it. But I still think I have to be in like the right mood for this movie. Night of the Creeps, I could put on and just watch it from beginning to end, laugh my ass off, and just have a lot of fun. So I'm going with Creeps.
All right. Okay. Kill. How about you?
This is a tough one, but I'm going Night of the Creeps. I feel, because of the roller coaster that it puts you on, is a little bit more of a fun watch than Night of the Comet, because everybody gets wiped out and turned to dust, for the most part, or you're dying slowly, and it's desolate, it's abandoned, you only have a few characters, and you don't have Tom Atkins. Okay. that's the biggest it factor. I'm sorry. Okay. And it's funny, like, you have Hector, who comes in a little later, sort of just like Tom Atkins when he comes in later. And no disrespect to Hector, but he ain't, he ain't Tom Atkins. His character's pretty, he's a good guy. He's honorable. He's
better looking. He's I'm not saying,
Oh,
All
right.
all right. Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Okay.
But his character is a little one note and doesn't have the it factor that Tom Atkins' character has. I mean, look, there's a scene with Tom Atkins' character where he's about to self-expire himself. Okay, so he's going through some stuff. There's some layers there, and that make him very colorful. So got to go on this one.
Okay, Coriander, how about you?
Okay, heads is Creeps and tails is Comet. Oh God, look where it went. Okay. Heads. So creeps.
All right. Wow. Okay. Um, for me, and I've watched both of these movies a lot over the years, and I love them both. But I'm going with Night of the Comet, and
Okay.
it for me, it's one of those movies that I can put on in the. It's one of those comfort movies. We've talked about this quite a bit. It's one of those
Mm-hmm.
movies I can put on in the background. I know the movie, so well that it's almost like it's just great to watch, or either great to just have on in the background. There's no disrespect to Night of the Creeps, because that movie is very entertaining as well. But it's something about, and I think part of it too is the idea that it's the end of the world. That
Mm-hmm.
it's truly the end of the world. We know it. I know you guys are saying the scarier threat was creeps, but w- we could win that. We could win that. We don't know if the aliens are gonna just leave, or what they're gonna do. So it's kind of up in the air. We can kill the creeps, but the comet already did its damage. So I think just that type of world is
Mm-hmm.
just so intriguing to me. And I call it, post-apocalyptic, favor or whatever. I am a big fan of stuff like that, like Mad Max. So maybe
Mm-hmm.
that's part of it. But I'm gonna give the point to Night of the Comet. Okay. All right. Let's see. Paul is going with Night of the Comet. Scott is going with Night of the Creeps. No contest. Okay. World of Game saying, I don't know either of the movies. Well, these are definitely movies you should check out. And by the way, and Val, if you could let us know how many likes we have in the chat if you're still here. But um, when we do the Battle World episodes, definitely check out the movies, because it definitely is situations where we try to have films that are very tough, when you're
Mm-hmm.
comparing them to each other. And more often than not, they're films that we can say we would recommend both. So
And
all right.
these two are easy to find. I'm speaking to World of Games.
Hmm.
Night of the Creeps is on Tubi, which is a free app to watch
Yeah.
movies, and
Yes.
Night of the Comet's on Pluto TV, which is also free. So you can
And
go
I think
watch
it's
them
on the
after
Roku
this.
channel too, I think.
Yeah, it
Could
is.
be.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
So they are easy to find. And they're great on physical too, man. I mean, we've got the 4K of Comet and the Blu-ray of Creeps.
Mm-hmm.
And they look great. They're well-made movies, and fun to watch too. All right. Our next category, Reggie or Chris. You knew we were going to get here, man. So we're basically talking about Jason Lively versus
Reggie
Catherine
or
Mary
Chris?
Stewart. So
Mm.
Regina. So Eric, who gets the point and why?
I gotta go with Reggie. I think there's more. Again, I keep saying how much fun Night of the Creeps is. I think there's more fun with Reggie than there is with Chris. I mean, I get it. He
Mhm.
is, he's trying. He's the. I don't want to say he's a loser, but he's very
Right.
shy. He wants to get the girl, and he
Right.
does become the hero at the end. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
He does, and he gets the girl. But there's just Reggie is just more engaging. She's more fun right away. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? I love how we're introduced. She could give a rat's ass about working at the movie theater. She just wants to make sure she has, every single high score, her initials. You know what I mean? The
Right.
worst. She doesn't care. I think she's more upset that someone got like number 6 than the fact that it is the end of the world. You know what I
Right.
mean? That type of stuff. There's just more to her, and there's more to her with the characters, and by the I love her even at the very end when there's absolutely no one left on the earth. She's still telling the kids to wait to cross the street. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
There's a
Yeah.
lot of more fun to her than there is to Chris.
Yeah, that was cute at the end, with the crossing the street thing. That's great.
Hmm.
Be home by midnight. It's
Yeah.
like, wow, again, a really cool tone in the film. Kill, how about you?
I gotta go with Reggie. From the moment you meet her, she's fun.
Mhm.
She's lively. She likes
Hmm.
scoring high scores on the arcade game, and has
Mhm.
a job that she's not really the biggest fan of, but it's okay for now.
Mhm.
She knows martial arts, to an extent, and rides
Right.
motorcycles and loves and
Hmm.
takes care of her little sister. you
Yeah.
know so there's a lot of layers to her, whereas Chris was kind of like your your everyman, 80s interpretation of a nerd and or geek.
Mm-hmm.
That
Yeah.
80s interpretation, like Revenge of the Nerds. He's a really nice guy. He has a friend who's awesome, really nice, but a little bit more outgoing. And he doesn't mind going up to a meathead and telling him, hey, you got a phone call over there. Like, oh, really? Yeah, go that way. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
So he's a nice guy, but he doesn't really come into his own until the end of the movie. And on top of that, he does have like Tom Atkins there as well. Reggie's kind of a badass on her own. I mean, she has
Right.
Hector and stuff, but Reggie is kind of the whole damn show. So I gotta go with
Right.
Reggie.
Yep. All right. Okay. Coriander, how about you?
I'm gonna give it to the ginger. So there you go.
And what's the reason?
Because he has quite an arc, and he gets the
Okay.
girl at the end. I bet,
Yep.
they're like gonna be the Brady Bunch. They get married and have 6 kids, maybe even more.
All right.
So
Okay.
yeah.
All right. For me, this isn't even close. This isn't even close. And don't get me wrong, I thought that obviously I'm going with Reggie. I think that Chris was a cool character, but like you guys said, he was the geek, but he was a kind but a semi cool geek. And his best asset was that he had a best friend that was like, the ultimate wingman, and they kind of had their own bubble that they operated out of. So he was cool, but like you guys said, he kind of comes into his own near the end of the film, which is a good character arc, Coriander, there's no doubt. But I mean, come on, man, we're talking about Reggie. I mean, right from the beginning, like you said, Kill. She's in an arcade. We know what that's like.
Oh,
She's
come
trying to.
on.
She's
Y'all are
okay.
biased anyway.
Well, one of these characters never graced the opening reel of NIGHTWATCH Zone, and the other one has. So I mean,
Hey, look. I mean, if you're paying attention, you should know where we're going with this. But no, but all seriousness though, I mean, like you guys said it, man. She's a badass. She's smart. She's capable, and the character itself just has multiple layers. She's funny. She's intelligent. She's caring. She's motherly. So I just thought that it was just a better character overall throughout the whole film. Like Chris gets stronger as a character as the movie goes on, especially from midway point and out. But Reggie's like that right from the jump. So I'm going with Reggie. Okay. Real quick in the chat. Let's see. I know. Scott saying Reggie had the better arc. She gets the point. Ninja saying Reggie for the win. There you go. Florida 1 in the chat. What's up? Good to have you. Hope you're doing well. And again, if you guys haven't hit the like button, please do. It helps us out. We appreciate that. Okay, next up, we've got Samantha or JC. Eric, who gets the point? Is it going to be Steve Marshall or is it going to be Kelly Maroney?
Oh, damn it. No disrespect to Miss Maroney. I got to go with JC. And I think it's just because, like I said, because of there is a bigger chance taken with that character because, like I've already said, if he was the annoying sidekick, no one would have cared. But the fact is, like, this guy's performance was, again, endearing. He wasn't just, a wingman, to help the guy get the girl. He was just that best friend. You know what I mean? He had the quips. He was fun. But again, when we lose him, it's that gut punch, especially when you hear that final recording. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that really makes me appreciate him more. I'm not saying I wanted him to survive in the end, because in these type of movies, you have to have that gut punch with that one specific character that you lose. And I think whoever this actor was that played JC just played him perfectly for this type of film, this type of role. I loved him. He's honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I think I preferred his character over Tom Atkins. So
okay, all right. Kill. How about you, man?
This is easy street. I gotta go JC. I like JC more than Chris. And he's a smart ass, but he's also very smart. And I love the fact that there's a clear layer to him that, oh, this is the 80s and they're having a character who, could be classified at that time as having a disability, but it wasn't a disability. He still was, just an awesome character. And it wasn't like they leaned so heavily into that, you know.
Yeah.
But the representation was there, which I give them kudos for that. He's an awesome character with, he very much knows himself and is confident in himself. And he looks at his friend Chris and is just like, hey man, you need to be as confident about yourself as I am about you.
Right.
And yeah, and like Eric said, that gut punch with the recording, it's like, oh man, couldn't Chris have died? Damn.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's
I wouldn't
just
go
me.
that far, but
Yeah, I'm just, I'm just, I kid. But and no disrespect to Sam, she plays the little sister well, kind of annoying, but that's what little younger siblings are, right, Knight?
Yeah, hey man. I'm
There
just
you go.
saying. I'm just saying. You got better though. You're all right. All right. Hey, he started it. I wouldn't have said that.
you could have played the fifth.
I could have, but hey, to be, no, man. Actually, it's funny because let me just say this real quick. This is actually cute though. But like when we used to do a lot of things, especially like with our cousins and stuff like that, like I was really always like hawking this guy because I was like, man, if something happens to him, anything, I am gonna get in a world of trouble. So he was good though, man. He was good. You're all right, bro. All right. Coriander, how about you?
So, I think why I like Sam's character a lot is because I can kind of relate to her. I'm the younger sibling. I have a brother, but I had cousins who for some reason would always like take the guys, and it's like, what the hell, man? So yeah, there was some, I could relate to this chick. And
Mm-hmm.
I just, yeah, like I said, when I thought her character died, and then when you come to find out, holy shit, Anyway, yeah. There you go.
All right, so you're going with
We've
Sam.
kind of talked about it, right?
Yeah.
And when you
Yeah.
find out, she's in the trunk and
I
she's
know,
not
man.
dead, it's like, that's awesome. So
Yeah. It was
I'm giving
special,
it to
man.
Sam. Totally.
Okay. All right. This is tough, man. I'm gonna be honest. This one is really, really close because I really like both characters, and I think both characters and that's why this is a great battle because I think both of these characters have a lot of parallels. Like these two films have a lot of parallels, and I think these characters have parallels because they're kind of like the co-star in a way, but they make an impact. Now that's in different ways, because JC has a different type of impact than Sam, but that's what makes this so tough. I'm gonna I'm gonna edge this out to JC barely. This is barely, but the reason I'm gonna do it is mainly because of how invested you can get into his character. And not to say I didn't get invested in Sam, I did, but I'm just saying based upon how the story plays out in Night of the Creeps, you just get so invested in his character, after the scene, like when he gets bullied and all these different types of things that are going on. And then, the recording and all that type of stuff and what it means for Chris, it just pushes it just a little bit more. If you ask me this in 10 more minutes, I could have easily said Sam because I think that she's fantastic and just bubbly. She's a bubbly type of character, and you need that in a movie where you're talking about the end of the world. So she balances out Reggie really well, but I'm going to edge this to JC. Okay. All right. Let's see what we got next. All right. We've got Hector or Cynthia Cronenberg, Eric. Who get the love interests? Who gets the point and why?
Jeez, I might need to borrow Coriander's coin. It's nothing against them, either one. They didn't really stick out to me at all, positively or negatively. They were just kind of there. in my opinion.
Okay.
I'm probably just gonna honestly, I'll just say I'll give it to Cynthia just because I remember
Hmm.
her getting in more of the action during the finale, and I liked her more, and I liked how she saw the lead character for who he was. He wasn't just some loser dork, like the
Mhm.
boyfriend. Her boyfriend was telling him or
Yeah.
telling her that he was type of thing. So I'll just edge it to Cynthia.
Okay. All right. Kill. How about you?
I gotta go with my man Hector. Um, because like he kind of comes in and at first, they don't know if they can trust him. He doesn't know if he can trust them. And he kind of comes in their life. He becomes a part of the squad, and then he realizes, hey, I still have a family. I just need to confirm. I
Mhm.
know I know what probably happened, but I need to confirm it. And
Right.
he's just a stand-up guy. And shouts out to him,
Robert
that actor,
Beltran.
his name Robert Beltran.
Mhm.
Shouts out to Star Trek.
Star
If you
Trek.
know, you
Yep.
know.
Mm,
That's right.
And and also, I'm a fan for diversity and for him to be not the norm that you would see in an 80s horror movie as
And
the
he
love interest.
intentionally made that choice, and everybody was on board with him on that. And Catherine spoke about that as well, and has spoken about that in interviews. Which is
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's a stand-up guy, just
Hmm.
just a good decent dude, and hopefully they'll repopulate the planet.
Hmm. All right. Okay. Coriander. How about you?
You know, I think I'm gonna give it to Cynthia.
Wow.
She turned into quite the little fighter and
Hmm.
kicking ass and using that blowtorch like you know, she picked it
Was a
up like it was
warrior.
nothing,
Hmm.
I guess. Sure. But yeah.
Okay. All right. For me, and again, I think these characters have some parallels. I mean, they're basically the love interest for one of the two main characters. So again, this is this is a great battle. I'm telling you, and we talked about this earlier too, even before we went live. It's so crazy how these films are losing, a little bit of their shine. They're getting to be more underappreciated and less people celebrating them, which is it's a shame because I think both of these movies are fantastic. That being said, Cynthia Cronenberg has a fantastic name. You guys know
hmm
we're huge fans of David Cronenberg, and I think Jill Whitlow played the character well. Typical '80s, but she had a heart, which was cool. And like you guys said, she saw Chris for who he was, and that was awesome. But look, man, I gotta go for Heck Gomez. You remember at the end when he had the cowboy hat? I loved it. He was awesome, man. And Robert Beltran again, and of course, knowing the behind the scenes gives me a little bit of a different perspective, but it is what it is. Just the choices that he decided to make for this character and how he was able to be a male character that was co-starring with female leads, but yet he was balanced. He didn't try
hmm
to overcompensate for that. He didn't try to take away the shine from Kelly and Catherine, but yet he did stand out in his own way at points. And he was to me, he was a really fun part of the film. So I definitely got to give the point to good old Heck. All right. All right. And Ginger Ninja saying, yeah, this is a great point too. Running from the kid zombie, and when he turns up with Sam in the trunk. Yeah, I mean that scene when he's going back to his house, it was really,
hmm
it was a great scene, and it's
Mhm.
something that for anyone that would be in this situation, they would probably do the same thing. You know what I mean? Hey, we got JPEG in the house. What's going on? Good to have you here. Both films had natural, organic, strong female characters. Yes,
hmm
agreed. Absolutely agreed. And also, guys, for you guys in the chat, if you haven't hit the like button, please do. It helps us out. Okay, next category. Sequel needed. Okay, so for this category, here's the question. Which film would you most want to see a sequel for with the characters that are obviously left in the
Mm.
film and wherever you think they'd be going, which film do you think would it make for the best sequel? Eric, we'll start with you.
Hmm. I think I'm gonna go with Creeps because, like Kill said many categories ago, there's still graveyards, and we know that there's still little slugs out there. So this isn't over. You could possibly look at Night of the Comet as a air quotes happy ending because we know there are survivors out there. The guy in the car, who is what is it, DMK? He's the guy that's
DMK.
on the top 10 in the video. So
Hmm.
there are definitely survivors out there. There are definitely ways to repopulate society. I don't really think you need a sequel to that to see what's happening to these characters. I would really dig a sequel to Night of the Creeps to see if now we don't have to just worry about slugs, are we going to worry about aliens as well? You know what I mean? You have that other possible conflict. So I'm going to go with Creeps.
All right. Kill, how about you?
I am gonna go with the movie called Night of the Creeps. Just on the way it ends. Tom Atkins, he goes out like a G, but unfortunately kind of all for naught. And the way that they kind of have the creeps, dart off, and then it kind of pan back, and you're like, where did they go? Where did they go? And then you see the sign for the cemetery. It's just begging for a sequel.
Mm.
And I just think that they could do, so much with that. Maybe, do like a time jump where now it's been, some amount of years, and Chris, and Cynthia, it's they have a family now and they still live in the same town, and maybe those creeps finally dig their way out of that cemetery. It took them a few years, I don't know, but the way it ends, it is ripe for like a sequel. So
Okay. All right. Coriander, how about you?
Yeah, definitely, Night of the Creeps. I really, yeah, I couldn't see having a second one to Night of the Comet. Yeah.
Okay.
And
All right.
would I go see it if they did it today? God,
Mhm.
probably not.
Oh, wow.
I don't
Okay.
think so. Yeah,
Okay.
it's
All
not
right.
needed. Not
Um,
needed.
what I mean is, I'm not saying is it needed, but which would you think would
Well,
be very
what do
cool
you
to
mean?
see?
It says sequel needed. What do you
That's
mean?
just the
Come
that's
on
just how I
now.
titled it. I'm just saying, which film would you like to see
Yeah,
that you
definitely
think would be
Night of the Creeps
interested? Okay.
versus,
Yeah.
yeah, it would be like, no, like a
Okay.
Brady Bunch episode, but not the Brady Bunch. I'm not saying it wouldn't be cool, but nah, I'm all set.
All
I'd
right.
rather see, the zombie apocalypse started by slugs than, the Brady Bunch.
Okay. All right. All right. So to me, um, I think both films actually could be fun as a sequel to carry on with these characters, and I do think um obviously the way that Night of the Creeps ends is basically a cliffhanger of sorts. Um, and like you said, Kill, maybe seeing what happens with Chris and Cynthia, and now that they know kind of what's going on, and if they can help lead the charge to defend the town or what have you, that'd be a lot of fun. I also think it'd be fun to see what else would happen with Night of the Comet. I mean, what are they going to do? Are they going to just like try to be in the same area they're in? Are they going to try to explore? Are they going to try to find other survivors? You could go in 1,000 different directions with that. I mean, literally. Um, that being said, though, I will give the point to Night of the Creeps. And the reason that I want to give the point to Night of the Creeps is because of the fact of where you leave the characters off.
Mhm.
There was just so much that they endured, losing Cameron, obviously losing JC. And now, if you were to continue the story and deal with this situation, how would Chris be able to do that? Because now it's all on his shoulders and Cynthia's, you know what I mean? So I think that would be a really interesting setup to see how those characters would deal with the continuing threat. Okay. All right. Let's go to our next category, the finale. the finale of the film, which is usually the last couple of minutes. It could be up to 15 minutes. Eric, who gets the point and why?
Definitely go with Night of the Creeps. I like the finale of Night of the Comet. I love the finale of Night of the Creeps. It's just, wall to wall zombie killing. Tom Atkins doing his thing. He does whether it's intentional or not, you have the little Dr. Loomis Halloween 2 homage with the lighter, with the fire and everything like that. And then you still have that ending where, like, shit, it didn't work. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? He walks out, he falls down, his head busts open, and then the slugs go into the graveyard. And I like that. Even if we didn't have the spaceship in the beginning, or excuse me, the spaceship at the very end before the credits roll, that was still, I think, a great finale to show that it's not over. So I got to go Night of the Creeps.
All right. Okay. Kill. How about you?
I liked both, but I'm gonna go Night of the Creeps. I mean, it's just the shit literally hits the fan.
Mhm.
You got zombies to worry about, you got the creeps to worry about, you got shotguns, flamethrowers, Tom Atkins with his revolver, just literally the camera looking at his face as he's yelling, and he's just he's just popping off, with perfection. One shot
Mhm.
kills, and it's like, all right, and no creeps, nothing. That's how good he is. Don't worry about the creeps. He's just popping off. They die.
Mhm. Mhm.
And and then Chris and Cynthia with the shotgun flamethrower combo, hitting some toasty, it's just awesome. And essentially the poster right there, that's the end of the movie. They're just like, look, back against the wall, let's just do it. So
Yep.
yeah, I gotta go with creeps.
All right. Okay. Coriander, how about you?
I think I'm gonna give it to the explosive ending. So yeah.
Of which film?
Which one had the explosive ending?
Dude, just come on, man.
Night of the Creeps.
Okay, why?
Because there was a lot to it, and it was fun. I'm
Okay.
not saying, Night of the Comet wasn't enjoyable, because it was, but yeah.
All right. Okay. All right. For me, I enjoyed the endings of both. They're doing some different things, because of course, like what you guys were saying earlier with Comet, they're setting up this whole thing where you're not sure about if Sam is alive or not, and how they're using her as a decoy to save Reggie and the kids, and of course how they end up. And of course with Night of the Creeps, you've got this battle, this last stand by Cameron, which was fantastic. So I've got to edge it out to Night of the Creeps. Again, Tom Atkins is always a winner, and he just look, anytime he's in a movie, he always delivers. There's just no doubt about it at all, and he does so in this film so awesomely. I mean, he just starts doing the countdown. He doesn't even really say much else. He just 20, 19, 18. It was just so cool, man. So I'm gonna edge this one out to Night of the Creeps. Okay. All right. Real quick, in the chat, let's see, just to catch up with these guys a little. Okay. Ginger Ninja's going with Creeps, whichever ending, it's good. Comet is it's a happy ending. Yep, it is. It is. And Val's reminding people, make sure you hit the like button. Thank you so much, Val. We appreciate you coming back in here and helping out a little bit. And we are going to go to our next category, and that is the choose category. Okay, so this will be the last category. And as usual, we want to make sure we throw this out here. Once we're done this category, we can't add points to a film. So if you have a film that you want to put points to, this is the time to do it. And yeah, this is the time to do it. So Eric, let's start with you. Which film are you going to choose?
Oh, 100% Night of the Creeps.
Okay.
Like I said, I really like Night of the Comet. I love Night of the Creeps. That's the easiest way to say it.
Okay. All right. Okay, Kill, how about you?
This is tough And if you ask me on a different day, it could go either way. I'm slightly gonna go with Night of the Creeps. Like I said, Tom Atkins is just magic and just so fun to watch. And had he not his character or him not been in this, it would be a different ball game for me. But I got to go Creeps.
Okay. All right. Coriander, how about you?
God, you know, I think I'm going to go with. I'd do the coin, but that kind of didn't work out last time for me, so I'm not going to do that again. So let's go Night of the Comet.
Okay. All right.
There you go.
All right. For me, these again, these are two films that are so much fun, and I've seen both of them a lot over the years. Um, but push come to shove, and it could change at any time afterwards. But I'm gonna go with Night
Mm,
of the Comet as well. It's one of those films, like I said, it, it it's also a comfort film for me more so than Night of the Creeps. And they're both fun, but again, there's just something about that whole idea about the end of the world and what people choose to do, how they choose to survive and so forth. And it's just so much fun. And the soundtrack, I mean, sometimes I've had that movie on just for the soundtrack alone.
Hmm.
It's just one of those things that just takes you back to the 80s, just a nostalgic type of feeling. So I'm gonna go with Night of the Comet. Okay. All right. And hey, we got Danielle in the chat saying I watched Comet because of Night and Corey's mega list. Turns out I had seen it before, but I still had fun with it. Yeah, I mean it's a fun one. I mean, these are both
mm,
super fun. Super
yeah.
fun. Paula's going with Night of the Comet. JPEG's going with Night of the Creeps. Ginger Ninja saying, gotta go with Comet. I've seen that so many times. All right. Okay. And oh man,
Mm.
we got a super chat that came in, but it's after, so we cannot count the
What do you
points.
mean it's after? How is it after?
It was after we
'Cause
finished the choose category.
oh,
Yeah.
oh, oh,
Yeah.
come
It's
on,
a right,
jeez.
Eric? That was after, right?
I have to say yes, it
Okay.
was.
All right. I just want to make sure because
Mm.
sometimes my StreamYard will lag a little bit, um, which
See,
is
mine
that is
was, so you
that.
can go by mine.
Yeah, there is a little bit of a lag. I'm watching both on my computer and on my phone, and I would have to say honestly, it came in after you had already made your decision night.
Okay. All right.
Mm.
But Ginger Ninja, thank you so much, man. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
He
I
had a
tried.
$3 super chat. Comet for the win. If only. If only. Scott.
I, that's why I always say I don't mean to interrupt you. That's why I always
Yeah.
say to a lot of people, if they do want to give in that final super chat during the choose category, try to do it before Knight gives his choice, because that way you can
Yeah.
kind of deal with the lag, because we don't know how long each person's going to be speaking when they give their answer for choose. So I think it's better to do that just on the safe side before we get to Knight, because he's usually the
Right.
last one to give the answer.
Yeah. I mean, like we have this same type of format. But it just makes it easier because if we were in a situation where a lot of people were really trying to get one film ahead of the other, it would
Hmm.
totally be crazy. So that's why we do it like that. So, okay. All right. So let's just do a quick recap and I'll tally up the points and we'll see who won. So, Eric, let's start with you.
Mm.
Tell us what you thought of this particular battle and how it went.
I always say, and I'm going to say it again, this was a lot of fun, and I was especially looking forward to this one because I've only seen both of these movies. I've only seen them twice, and very late in life, within the last maybe year or so. Night of the Comet, I just knew it was end of the world and zombies. So the first time I watched it, I wasn't real big on it because there wasn't enough zombies. I thought it was going to be Dawn of the Dead or something like that. But with this rewatch, knowing what I was getting into, I could appreciate it more. And I grew to like the characters more. And it's a good, fun end of the world 80s movies. Night of the Creeps, I knew it was zombies, and when we start out with naked aliens and then 1950s and an axe murderer, I don't know what to expect. You know what I mean? But then when we finally get to the 80s and we get to the zombies and stuff like that, I'm already having fun because I feel like we have this 50s sci-fi cheesiness, and I grew up with that stuff because of my dad. He loved all that stuff. And then once we get to the zombies, and again, all the in jokes with all the names, that's how, like, when I was a kid and I used to write stories, I would always pick famous people's names, and that's what I would do when I was writing the characters. It's easy, it's a cheat, and that kind of, in a roundabout way, kind of brought me back to my childhood, just seeing all the names. Carpenter, JC is John Carpenter and all that stuff. And then again, it's just a lot of fun from beginning to end. So this was a good battle.
I agree. This was a fun battle. These movies were fun to go back and watch. And the atmosphere is different. One has the end of the world kind of theme to it, and the other one has that classic 80s small town kind of theme. You take some of the gore away from here, and maybe make Chris a younger character. This would be like the Goonies with zombies or something. It's small town America. Good kids, that one cool adult, Uncle Tom Atkins helping. And I mean, it's the classic formula for like an 80s adventure movie. But no, these movies are both fun and great comedy horror. So if you have not seen these in a while, definitely check them out. They're both free to watch on Roku and Tubi. And yeah, it's a good time.
Yeah, I mean, they're great examples of 80s horror that is like awesome to watch. And there's so many more movies from those decades, plus the 70s earlier, that if you guys don't watch, you should, because you're missing out on some really good stuff. And yeah, I mean, these two are classics. And yeah.
I agree. I mean, they're both a lot of fun, and they both are just great examples of 80s horror. They have that vibe, they have that style, and there's fun to be had with them. And I think that also is the type of thing where they were so well done, from A to Z, with the casting, the direction, the camera work, the music, all that type of stuff, that I think that's why they stand the test of time, or you can watch them today and still have fun with them. So both awesome films. So if you guys have not seen them or haven't seen them in a while, you should check them out. But let's go to the score. This, man, it was crazy at first. It was kind of tight, and then it just it ballooned out. We got a super chat in as well for one of the films, but for a total score of 47 to 24, the winner
Damn.
is Night of the Creeps.
Right.
There it is. There it is. And I'm sorry, Ginger Ninja. He's like, but who won?
I tried.
Yeah, well,
I tried for
did you
you.
though? Did you?
Hey,
I'm
you're
just
always
messing with you.
like, I
I'm just
run the
playing with you.
streams.
I'm just
I'm
messing with
the
you.
executive decision. So
Yeah.
here you
All right,
go.
guys. Well, we appreciate you guys hanging out. Seriously, it helps us out and gives us a chance to talk about these films and have some fun with it. So if you haven't hit the like button, make sure you hit it. It helps to support the stream. Also, you can leave us some comments. Let us know some of your favorite moments from either film. We didn't get to everyone's comment. But yeah, definitely leave some comments in the comment section. We can continue the conversation there. And we will catch you guys next time. And as always, if you're watching this, if you're listening to this, you are the Night Watch. Peace.
Cheers.
Approach.